I'm Lee McCaleb. I am the brand manager for converged infrastructures for CSC's federal division. In that role, I manage the interface between solutions and the customer and sales for everything pretty much within the data center. That includes network, storage, compute, high performance computing, cyber, the list goes on. What it turns into is about an $11 billion pipeline of business. And for us, our current HPC business is about $1 billion. I'm very excited to be here. And I'm excited that Seagate invited me here to talk a little bit about how we see the market changing, how CSC is responding to that market change, but moreover, to give you guys a challenge around high performance computing security and a solution that Seagate brought to us along with a lot of industry partners and a government customer that we're very excited about. Let me start off with just a quick summary of the big challenges that we're facing right now. So number one are the big questions. You guys in the room represent the big questions that are being answered. Talked earlier about climate change, huge, right? Security is unbelievably important. My customers use HPC to try and find the bad guys all over the planet. As we saw recently, sometimes we miss a few, right? In addition to that, you've got big questions around healthcare, genomics. The biggest change in healthcare right now is personalized medicine, defined by your genome, your personal DNA. I read an article a couple of days ago in Wired, and Wired quoted someone who said, the first person to live 1,000 years probably has already been born. Now, on one hand, I don't want to die. On the other hand, I don't want to work another 900 years. So kind of flip-flop on that one. But the whole idea here is that in order to answer the really big questions, which is what this group is really all about, you've got to have the performance, you've got to have the transports, you've got to have the algorithms, but mostly you've got to have the data. And that data can come from any source. It really can. I mean, if you look at a situation now where you can have an intelligence coup as much from a tweet as you can from a $100 million satellite, it's a very unique world we live in. As far as I know, we don't have a top secret Twitter account someplace. Maybe we do. But the whole idea is that the data can come from anywhere. It can come from any classification or security level, and you have to bring it together for the right person at the right time in order to make it effective. And so often we built moats around that data and around the infrastructure to keep it separate. And we've done that for security reasons. Now this provides a problem, but also provides some great opportunities, and especially for CSC and partners like Seagate. We need to find a way to break through that and to answer these great big questions. The problem we're also facing in the industry, though, is we have to transform as a company. The reason for that is, just like Seagate just did, spinning off their federal division, it's almost impossible to have a commercial division and a US government entity focused division working together under the same network, under the same email system globally. Reason for that, in order to be commercially viable, you've got to work with companies, work in countries that may not have the best interests of the US federal government at heart. I and my cohorts on the federal government side have to be completely focused on serving our one large customer and the state governments that we support as well. What does that mean? It means CSC had to split as well, right? If you look at SAIC, they had to split. HP is splitting in a different way, but Lockheed Martin, our biggest supplier for the US federal government in the military space, is also splitting, just for these reasons. Now CSC, I've only got to a right slide, will close its split in a matter of days. We're taking a $15 billion company, we're splitting it into a commercial services version and the US federal and state market. At the same time, our federal practice is merging with another company called SRA. Together we will be the largest focused IT systems provider for the US federal government and state governments. We will also have the highest profit margins, and I better keep them there, or otherwise I'm in trouble. But the whole idea here is when CSRA goes public in a matter of weeks, We will be on a new infrastructure, we will be in new facilities, and we had to take a pause and decide if we're going to redesign everything we're doing from a business perspective, we better do it right. So this change actually provided us an opportunity to take a step back and redefine what it means to have real security and real infrastructure. And we put our smartest guys in the room, we locked the door with our smartest partners, and they came out with something pretty amazing. What we're doing here is we're transforming the industry. We created a program called Secure the Net. Like I said, we put our smartest brains in the room together, locked them in, and said, come out with something amazing. What they came out with is a very unique technology capability that, as far as we know, is the best security in the business, bar none. Things like, we're not going to do endpoint virus checking anymore. It doesn't work. What we're going to do instead is we're going to whitelist every binary that we have on our network. And any new binary that comes in, whether it's an exploit, whether it's some malware, or whether it's my favorite cat video that shouldn't be on there anyway, we will isolate it, we will detect it, we will isolate it within a matter of seconds, and we'll find out if it's safe or not to be on the network. So no matter what they're using, no matter what binaries come in, we'll be able to detect and isolate it. Another thing we're doing is we're becoming our own authoritative DNS server and supplier. Therefore, we don't have to rely on external DNS. Therefore, we don't have to worry as much about DNS attacks. But even after we get all of this together with our partner Seagate, who's hosting all of our logs, we still won't solve the data problem. The data problem is, how do I have security that flows with the data as it's transiting to where it needs to be? How do I keep security in place so the person who shouldn't be seeing the data, thank you, Mr. Snowden, away from the data that they're not supposed to see in their particular role, and at the same time enable the analyst that needs to grab data from unclassified, highly classified, sort of classified, to do their job and come up with those answers to the big questions. How can I do that effectively? Well, there is a solution. The solution has actually been developed over 10 years at a US federal agency, by that agency. They basically took Red Hat Linux and they modified it to SE Linux, which some of you may be familiar with, and they created an enforcement mode. And that enforcement mode forces you to separate roles and the security associated with those roles. No longer do you have a super user that has access to every key in the kingdom. The administrators can administrate, and the security administrators apply the security processes. Those processes and checks and balances are checked every time an IO is created. Seagate took the Lustre file system, extended the inode information to enforce this at the disk level. It's important to realize that this is not a solution from a single vendor. It was created by a federal government agency. That agency then went out to industry and came up with almost a dozen partners, many of whom are here tonight, to take this technology and embed it in their products. Seagate is one of them. Crunchy Data has done the cell-level database locking. You've got Splunk doing the analytics. You've got Mellanox doing the InfiniBand backend for it, and the list goes on. This is a coalition that's bringing an answer to the problem of data-centric security, and it works. It's received what we call ICD 503 certification, which is an intelligence agency certification for data sharing, to privacy level 4, which means you can have mixed classification media within the same environment. You no longer have to have separate networks and separate systems for different classification levels. Things like triple redundancy, just because one's highly classified and one is not, can now go away, and all the money that's saved by that we can put to better use. In addition to that, everything is role-based like I discussed, and at every layer within the stack, the security is enforced, from the application all the way down to the bottom layer. Now, it's currently been in R&D and only in HPC environments. We, together with CSC and our partners, plan to take this more mainstream, out of the HPC environments into the cloud environments, and hopefully down to mobile and the desktop. What we have to do, therefore, is change the idea of how security is done, not from a moat, but now from a data-centric approach. We're very excited about this again, And we really think that this is going to be a game changer, not only for the US federal government, but for the financial institutions, for healthcare. I don't know about you, but I really don't want my DNA going to somebody that I really don't know. And it really provides a paradigm shift for the industry. Now, I'm happy to announce tonight that Seagate and CSC have signed an agreement to bring this solution to market. We will be working together very closely for marketing as well as joint support and joint development of the solution. CSC, soon at CSRA, will be driving this with our other partners in the coalition. We'll be signing additional agreements, and we'll be taking it to other customer sites and developing these capabilities going forward. But that's it. We're excited about the solution. We're excited as a new company to be able to go out and drive new business and focus on our federal market. And our commercial brothers are very interested in taking this to the biggest houses on Wall Street, as well as healthcare as well. So if you have any questions, happy to take them, or at our booth over in Ballroom A. And thanks for your attention. Appreciate it.